vulture, saying he's not a colleague, he's a colonizer. And then all of that bringing us to the latest song, at least as of recording, The Heart Part 6 that Drake put out. Right, and this song prompted just a metric fuck ton of discourse. Right, first, Drake denying that he has a secret daughter, claiming that his team fed Kendrick that false information to see if he would bite, with him also denying being a pedophile, saying this Epstein angle was the shit I expected, with Drake continuing, if I was fucking young girls, I promise I'd have been arrested. I'm way too famous for this shit you just suggested. Only fucking with Whitney's, not Millie Bobby Brown's. I'd never look twice at no teenager. Right, and all of that elicited a ton of responses. Right, especially because it comes as there's long been claims or rumors about Drake having inappropriate relationships with underage girls. And a lot of people just thinking those lyrics aren't how you shut it down, writing things like, I'm too famous to be a pedophile is crazy considering Weinstein, Epstein, Cosby, R. Kelly, the list goes on. And if at any point in your life you have to say, I expected you to compare me to Jeffrey Epstein, then you should immediately reflect on the choices you made to get to that juncture. Along with bringing up Millie Bobby Brown on that track when Kendrick never mentioned her as the most telling slip-up. But also, that wasn't even the part of the song that ignited the most controversy. Right? Because in that song, Drake also said, Mother wait a second, that's that one record where you say you got molested. Aw, fuck me, I just made the whole connection. That's why these pedophile raps is shit you so obsessed with, it's so excessive. Right? Drake essentially saying Kendrick's so obsessed with calling him a predator because he himself is a victim of child sexual abuse. But the thing is, in that bit, Drake appears to be referencing Kendrick's song called Mother I Sober from 2022. And in that, Kendrick sings about his family's history with sexual abuse, but when it comes to himself, he says, family ties, they accused my cousin. Did he touch you? Kendrick never lied, but no one believed me when I said he didn't. So Kendrick saying there was an accusation, but he wasn't molested. Right? And so with that, you have a number of people saying not only did Drake fully misunderstand that song, but also his choice to seemingly make fun of Kendrick under the false notion that he was a survivor of abuse is disgusting. Writing, you hate pedophiles because you got molested is the worst angle I have ever heard in my life. And using child molestation accusations and mocking real victims of it is just tactless. Right? And while obviously you have people in both camps, the general online consensus right now is that Kendrick's winning this battle. With things like Nah Drake even trending on Twitter this morning, with Kendrick's 2 songs topping Spotify's charts right now, people comparing the view and like to dislike counts on YouTube. Right? But all of this is there's still a ton of people coming to bat for Drake. Some dismissing the claims against him, arguing what Kendrick has said is just as bad, saying that Kendrick shouldn't get off easy from these allegations that he abused his fiance. And as far as maybe why that seems to be taking a back seat with a lot of people, you have some saying that it's because no one believes Drake right now and he's already gotten stuff wrong. And others adding, people don't want to believe anything Drake is saying about Kendrick, yet have no problem believing what Kendrick is saying about Drake, which is probably untrue. Kendrick is exposing a cultural reality that people don't trust Drake. You can't fight people's feelings. Drake lost. He lost because, fair or not, no one cares if anything he's saying is true. But then also, all of this is playing out as there are a number of people that aren't really taking sides as much as, a number of people are saying, if you pull back from this, you pull away from the fun aspects of when famous people are having drama, the things that are being rapped about, they're serious allegations. They are things that people literally go to jail for. But instead of seeing possibly criminal investigations, we're kind of just seeing people crip walk to allegations of someone being a pedophile and someone beating their fiance. But again, that's just kind of where some of this discourse is right now, some of the claims. And with all that, I gotta pass the question off to you. What are your thoughts with this whole back and forth in the situation in general? And then we need to talk about Pastor John Paul Miller, because this whole situation starts with him giving a totally normal sermon to his congregation in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. But then at the very end, he drops this 2,000-pound bomb on them.
I got a call late last night. My wife has passed away. And it was self-induced. It's all I can, I'm just kind of going on adrenaline right now. So y'all pray for me and my kids and everybody. And y'all knew that she wasn't well mentally, and that she needed her medicine that was hard to get to her.
Right, so reportedly, police found his wife's 30-year-old Micah Miller's body on Saturday, April 27th. She was in the Lumber River State Park, about an hour's drive from Myrtle Beach. But despite John Paul's claim that she took her own life, police haven't released her official cause of death, and they're still investigating what happened. Also, if you ask Micah's friends and family, her death smells a lot less like a suicide and a lot more like murder. With her friend writing on Facebook, I talked to her multiple times in her final week here on Earth. She was making plans to get her haircut, getting help with her car payment because she was a little short after paying her divorce lawyer, and planning to meet us for the second service at church on Sunday. My final text with her on Friday at 9:19 p.m. was a woman making plans to live. What happened between Friday night and Saturday? Right, and as far as that divorce lawyer part, Micah actually filed for divorce back in October, though the case there was consensually dismissed in February. Though according to Fox News, she filed 3 different separate support and maintenance requests since last year, with those allowing one spouse to receive court-ordered support from another spouse without officially divorcing, with the last one filed on April 16th, just days before her death. Also notably, in March, Micah posted this video with a caption, "Please share this with anyone struggling with leaving a dangerous situation."
God hates divorce because it hurts people. But does abuse hurt people? How do you think God feels about that?
And reportedly in 2 police reports that same month, Micah said that her tires were punctured by a sharp piece of metal twice in 1 week, with her believing that it was done by a suspect whose name is redacted and who had a history of doing similar things to her. With her also reportedly noticing strange activity, and she believed that people were following or watching her. And then later that morning, while she was at a gas station, the suspect reportedly pulled up next to her pump and tried to talk. But there, she told him to go away, and when she took out her phone to record, he sped away, with him later returning when she was at a nearby car dealership and then calling her from an unknown number. At which point, Micah told an officer she was afraid for her life, explaining that she blocked the suspect's number but still received calls and texts from other numbers. And then, after the cop left, Micah contacted him and said the mechanics found a tracking device on her car. Right, so we don't need to be Sherlock Holmes to fucking connect the dots here, which is why you had dozens of people protesting outside the church over the weekend and the hashtag Justice for Micah spreading on social media. But on the other side of this, John Paul claims that Micah was open about her mental health struggles for years, with him telling ABC.
She had struggled with suicide before, and each time, helped her through it, took her to her doctor, and we got through it, and everything was fine. And she even gave a few testimonies here at church. We have on video of times where she had battled suicide, but God took care of her and got her through it.
But with all that said, right now, we have to wait for the police to finish their investigation. Though until then, of course, I gotta pass the question off to you. What are your thoughts here? And then, it's hard giving up things that we enjoy, and it sucks. But if you tweak your brain a little bit, it's not about giving it up, it's more like switching it up, right? Switching it up to break that bad habit that you have, it can be easier thanks to the fantastic sponsor of the PDS, Fume. Because Fume's an innovative, award-winning flavored air device that takes your habit and simply makes it better, healthier, and more enjoyable. And they offer different flavors from orange vanilla, crisp mint, which I found quite refreshing, and sparkling grapefruit. Really though, I didn't know what to expect, but I was surprised at how flavorful it was. And the fidgeter in me loves the movable parts and magnets. It's balanced just right, keeps your fingers busy, which helps with anxieties that come with these types of changes. You can even adjust the airflow to your liking. I also like the magnetic stand that they have for your Fume, so there's no more losing it around the house. And that's it, you just breathe it in naturally flavored air through an award-winning device. No artificial flavors, nasty chemicals, or batteries involved, just flavored air. And Fume has served over 300,000 customers, and you can be the next success story. For a limited time, you can go to tryfum.com/DeFranco and use code DeFranco to get a free gift with your journey pack. That's tryfum.com/DeFranco, code DeFranco. And then, y'all, Sony just got smacked in the face by an army of gamers. And specifically, what I'm talking about is that Sony was just forced to back down from arbitrary account requirements after it nearly killed Helldivers 2, right, one of its most recently successful games. And notably, Helldivers 2 being a hit was kind of a surprise, right? Currently, this constantly memed about third-person shooter, everyone goes, oh yeah, people love it. But when the game launched, it was kind of a surprise. I mean, initially there wasn't nearly enough servers to accommodate all the players, which is, yeah, granted a good problem to have if you can fix it. But also notably, a big part of the success was that the game was available on both PlayStation 5 and PC via the Steam store, and players from both could play with one another. But in a now-deleted tweet on Friday, PC players were told that they would need to link a PlayStation Network account to their game in order to continue playing it by next month. And the backlash here was immediate and for a variety of reasons. Right, for many, it was simply that Sony has a horrendous record keeping its user data safe, with, for example, one review on the game's Steam store highlighting 7 data breaches linked to compromised PlayStation Network accounts. And that data can be really sensitive, like addresses and official government IDs. You also had notable people in the space sounding off on it, with, for example, Mutahar from Ordinary Gamer summing up what a lot of users felt when he said, fucking hate this trend of having multiple accounts and services for every online game I want to play. Although you had others noting that it's not unheard of in the industry, with games like Sea of Thieves and Halo Infinite requiring a Microsoft account on top of whatever store account you use to buy the game. And as a matter of fact, this fact was used by some to claim that critics of Sony's decision were being a bit hypocritical, as they didn't seem nearly as angry about that. And users also felt that even though the Steam store did say that a PSN would eventually be needed, it was kind of hidden, which was also compounded by the fact that while Steam is available in a ton of countries, PlayStation Network isn't. So there was actually a sizable number of players who bought Helldivers 2 that would no longer be able to access the game because they couldn't get a PlayStation Network account. And that fact in particular set a lot of people off, like with Thor from Pirate Software, who wrote, removing access from Steam players unless they make a PSN account and link it months after release is absurd. Review changed to negative, and I have filed for a refund. And when those countries were officially cut off over the weekend, he added, Sony has now removed access to Helldivers 2 in every region that cannot make a PSN account. This denies access to every player that bought the game in those regions over the last several months. You can no longer buy the game in a number of currencies tied to those regions. In closing, never seen a golden goose killed so publicly in my life. Right, and all of this leading to the game's Steam review going from overwhelmingly positive to overwhelmingly negative, which is a massive deal because most of the game's players are on PC. Also, something that gamers had a little more of a mixed opinion on is how much blame should be given to the game's developer, Arrowhead Studio. With some saying things like, I think it's important to remember that with everything going on around Helldivers 2, their studio, Arrowhead, is not to blame. Arrowhead has never been an indie studio despite claims otherwise, and this falls entirely on the publisher getting too involved. Though that, as others countered, the Helldiver devs were fully aware of the PSN requirements for 6+ months, yet the narrative will be to blame Sony. Microsoft, Ubisoft, Blizzard all have this same policy.